This is the Mad Dragons Podcast. Well, g'day and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast for this Team List Tuesday edition on a Thursday. Having Anzac Day on Tuesday has thrown us out a little bit, but a massive, massive show tonight with some regular updates of the Sharks and Cowboys game going on at the moment. Only about 10 minutes into that game. I might go to you, Jesse, watching it at home. What's the update on that game so far?
So right now it's the Sharkies up 6-0. Nico Hines, as we speak, has taken a penalty goal, which is successful. And it's 8-0 to the Sharks after... sorry, they just went a commercial break, but Nico Hines has just converted a penalty. 8-0 Sharks.
There you go. Well, 8-0 to the Sharks early. That first try that they scored, Sio Sifa Talakai. Again, it was Nico Hines heavily involved straight from the scrum win to set that one up very, very early on. A try to the Sharks, and the Cowboys look a little rattled, I must say, early. But this week's game in Wollongong is the Dragons raising money for Convoy, which is an event that supports families affected by potentially life-threatening medical conditions, with $5 from every ticket going to the cause. Hazman, how will the Dragons line up for that one?
I was waiting for you to ask me that, Donny. So just the one force change this week, which I'll get to in a moment. So Tyrell Sloan is the fullback. On the wings, we have Matt Feeney, and replacing Tiao Mogo, who picked up a bit of an injury on Anzac Day, is his twin brother, Max Feeney. Centers are Moses Sully and Zach Lomax. Talatau Amon is a 5'8". Ben Hunt is a halfback and captain. The forward pack is Michael Molo and Blake Laurie. Moses Zampai is a hooker for some unknown fucking reason. The second row is Ben Murdoch Masilla and Jack Bird. Jack DeBellin will be locking the scrum. And on the interchange bench, we have Jacob Little, Jaden Hunt, Toby Couchman and Josh Kerr. And on the extended bench, Zane Musgrove, Jaden Sullivan, Billy Burns, again for unknown reasons, Viliami Fafita and Sione Finau. Donny?
Well, to be fair, my boy Billy Burns been man of the match in reserve grade probably the last 2 weeks in a row. But he's going all right, Billy. He's earned his spot, earned his chance on that extended bench. He's playing pretty well down in the lower grades, though. Probably one of the best performing forwards. So the Sharks are in again. Jesus, this could be anything, this scoreline. All right, we don't actually have anyone for behind enemy lines. Swanky, my mate that I played footy with, won a premiership with for the South Perth Lions over here in Western Australia. He was supposed to jump on, but there's been no sighting of him. In any case, we'll still play the intro, and Big T will take us through the Bulldogs team.
Come with me as we go behind enemy lines.
So I'll go through.
Yeah, I should have gone off you. I'm still
There,
here.
Oh, Swanky's on.
Still here, he is too.
Hey.
I'm just going to run through the Bulldogs team. We've got Hayes Perham at the back. On the wings, there's Casey and Burns. In the centres, Averillo and Amalotti. Josh Reynolds and Matt Burton in the halves. Max King, Reid Marnie, and Tavita Pengor Jr. up front. Corey Waddell, Jacob Preston, and Raymond Fatola Mariner locking the scrum. On the bench, you've got Moran, Ockenberg, Hughes, and Sutton. and Manure Brown is 18th man. Okay. I just want to make a quick mention to the young bloke, Carl Alupu at 5'8". I think he might get a run this weekend for the Bulldogs. He might come off the extended bench. He might get a run. Maxi King, a fourth generation rugby league player. His great-grandfather, Seth, played for South. His grandfather, our own Johnny King, 7 premierships with the Dragons. And his father, David, played for the Seagulls. So Max, fourth generation. There can't be too many of those guys around. Well, anyway, we did have Swanky on, but he's gone again. He's gone again. He's run away. He's chickened out. I don't know what are we going to do now, Donny. I'll ask you the first question I was going to ask Swanky.
Well, George Phillip wants to know. I'll just interrupt you. George Phillip in the comments, he said, is that a New South Wales Cup lineup you've got there behind you, mate?
No, that's the NRL team, mate. That was another question I had for Swanky. But anyway, Donny, Cole Flanagan, is he a scapegoat or he's just a poor player?
No, he's a professional rugby league player and hasn't been playing good enough. The Bulldogs have got a coach that's willing to drop an underperforming player. How refreshing is that?
That's right. No, that's right. Yeah. I think he's a good player. I wouldn't want to see him at the Dragons though, but I think he's a good little player.
Well, how can you think he's a good player and you don't want him at your club? You don't think
don't want him at the club, mate.
You're trying to be nice.
Player. He's a good medium player for anybody else who play against the Dragons, so we can kick their asses.
He's an okay player, I think, in New South Wales Cup. I think that's about as far as it extends.
He is.
He's been on the fine a few years.
Yes, injuries at the Bulldogs, mate. No Kiko, no Adakar, no Thompson, no Karaz, no Biondi, heaps of others. Has this injury decimated Bulldogs team got a chance against the Dragons?
Yeah, I think we'll have a lot of sore bodies from that Anzac Day game. Like, it was a real physical game. We've only got 4 days to prepare for it. The short turnaround, yeah, I don't think it's really great that we've only got that short time to prepare for this game. And the Bulldogs have an 8-day turn actually, so they've been playing with a lot of spirit this year, even though they've lost a lot of players. They've been fighting. They haven't lost the game themselves. They've been in the fight, but it's just that their injuries do take a toll on them at the back end of the game. It's like the teams that are fully fit get to them at the end of the games. They were competitive against Cronulla last week for long periods of that game. So I wouldn't take this Bulldog side too lightly on Sunday. We're not a side that can take anyone lightly the way our form is of late. So, if we go into this game complacent, we could end up with an egg on our face if we're not careful.
That's a lot of the times the Dragons going against the Bulldogs. We're going in for a win and come out with a comprehensive loss. 22.
You can't be sitting where the Dragons are and go into a game complacent, but.
No,
we should go in pretty confident against that team. Like any team that's got Josh Reynolds named at 6, fair dinkum, I'm going in pretty confident against a team that's got Josh Reynolds named at 6. Like, he would not make our New South Wales Cup team.
Hazman, is he there? There he is.
Yes, Tony.
I don't know how close you watch the Bulldogs go around. You know, we haven't got Swanky or a Bulldog supporter because they all chickened out because they're playing the mighty Dragons. Nobody wanted to come on. I contacted the kennel. I contacted my Bulldogs mates, or should I say Bullduds? Bullduds, I call them. Bullduds. What a great name for them. I contacted Donnie. Contacted his mates. Jesse contacted his mates. Chloe contacted her mates.
I even tweeted Gus.
Even Murray couldn't get anybody. Couldn't get anybody to come on because they're so disappointed and their team's shit. Anyway, who are their danger men?
I just agree.
Who are their danger men? Who are their danger men?
Well, just going through the list, I would say, I mean, any side that we've played in the past with Josh Reynolds in it has been a bit of an issue. Tavita Pangai Jr. I can see as a bit of a danger man up front. I think Molo and Laurie are going to have their work cut out shutting him down. Fatala Mariner has always been an issue as well. And if you have a look at the bench, you got Ockenbaugh who can cause a bit of trouble as well. So there's a few players on there.
You've just
But I
picked
think-
out all their shittest players, though.
Oh, shut up. Stephen.
Reynolds and Ockenbaugh, geez, like I agree with you.
Ockenbaugh's a great player.
Ockenbaugh and Reynolds will definitely come out and have blinders against the Dragons because they are two of the worst players in the NRL. Like, and that's exactly what we do. We just seem to make these very average players look good. And you're right, they're the kinds of players that have hurt us in the past.
Don, you're making my point for me.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. We're also taking the piss out of you. I don't know how that works.
Well,
but-
he's just saying. He's
How
just
can you
saying.
take the
this
piss and make my point at the same time, Don?
I don't know. I'm a fucking idiot.
Well,
No
anyway,
mention of Matt Burton.
this is normally where I ask you guys if you've got any questions for the our Bulldog supporter, but we haven't got one because they're chickens. And I I take a walk down memory lane as I've done every week, and I'm not going to go right back to 1935, 91-6. You remember that score, guys? It was only 23.
We need to get Mick Foster on to talk about that one, mate.
Where is he? Let's go.
Shout out to Mick. Thanks for coming on last Tuesday, Buzzy. Tuesday night, Brady. Thank you very much. But it was 23-6 at half time. They were still in it. 68 point to nothing second half. That's what killed them, I think. Anyway, I'm not going to go back to 2008, 30-0, 2019, 44, or even go back to 32-12 in 2020. I'm going to go back to 2009 in front of 18,415 fans at Cogra. Two controversial calls by the referees early in the game against the Dragons. 79th, 80th minute, Bryson Goodwin gets a pass offload to Luke Patton. Luke Patton sneaks through the gap, goes through the gap, beats one tackle, gives it out to Jamal Idris. Jamal Idris scores in the corner. Try, Bulldogs, help me out. Oh, hang on. Bum, ring that bell, son.
I remember that.
Greg Eastwood hold back. Jamie Soward. Yes,
I remember that.
Did. Greg Eastwood, go on, son. No try. Dragons win. Dragons for life, baby. Back to you, Donnie.
That was a top of the table clash too that year.
So
Yeah, what's
that's
Jamie Soward say about that one,
28, I
Jesse?
think it was.
I didn't ask him about that one actually.
Well, I can tell you that Jamie Soward has said that, yes, I did take a dive. So, fuck you, Bulldogs.
Yeah, but who doesn't these days, mate?
Yeah, well, exactly,
Who
yeah.
doesn't take a dive?
Well,
Well, anyway, that was my memory.
We don't these days because we're too bloody stupid not to.
That was
Date
my
on the
memory.
game. It's
I even-
14-0 Cronulla.
I even forgot to mention Stephen Clark was the video referee that gave the no try decision.
Oh,
Hey, how about that?
Stephen Clark
didn't like
helping us out. That's
us. Stephen Clark didn't like us.
And that was actually a win that helped us get the minor premiership that year too, because the Bulldogs finished right behind us on. I think they finished on the same points we got them on for and against.
yeah. It'd be
Yeah,
great
right.
if we got them on 4 and against by 2 points as well.
As long as it beat him, he gives a shit.
Well,
Yeah.
we got the win that day. And like you said, Jess, we got the minor premiership.
Yep.
All right. Well, we go straight from that segment. Hopefully, when we come back from this intro, the host of the segment will still be here.
Before you go, Johnny, Cronulla 14-0.
Yep. Well, that's in the agenda a few times.
Okay, guys. So, my question tonight is actually a bit of a family one. So, this Sunday we see on the wings we got Matt and Max Fiona. So, my question tonight is, when did they first play in the NRL together, and what venue was that against? Sorry, what venue was that at? And who was it against? So it was a few years back now. So if you can remember that, fire away the comments. Yeah.
So what was the question again?
So when did Matt and Max, Fee and I play together in the NRL for the first time? When did they play together in the NRL for the first time? And where was the venue and who did they play against?
Okay. Well, we don't actually have a lot on actually tonight watching live. So obviously the Thursday night time slot's thrown a few people. A lot of people will be watching the NRL game that's going on at the moment. The Big T's told us the Sharks still leading 14-0, 26 minutes gone in the first half in that one. So
I'll all be here in 10 minutes, Donny.
yeah, at halftime, everyone will jump on at halftime. You reckon?
Yeah, they might have known we started 8 tonight. So
yeah, well, we put it out. There was certainly a few viewer questions that we've got later on. So hopefully there's a few on. But no, when Matt and Max Feeney played NRL together for the first time, is that the question? I didn't think they had.
No, that I didn't think so either, but I delved into it a little bit, and actually they have played together before. So I did a little bit of research on it.
Grant Rower says, was it against the Sharks at Cogra?
It was at Cogra, but not against the Sharks.
and did a Maxie get
So you got
injured that
half of it
game?
right, Grant.
And Max got injured that game, didn't he?
Max got injured. Yeah, I think it was that night against the Sharks,
Yeah.
and they played at Cogra. I think the Sharks got us by 1. I think it was during the COVID year. I think that one was. But yeah,
Well, I'm going to have to edit some of the agenda here because I do mention it's the first time they played together, but turns out that's not correct. So going to have to change a few of those things around.
Donnie, that's some Rothfield research. That is. That is dead set some Bill Rothfield shit right there.
I'm fucking booting you. Where's the boot button?
Sharks have just gone in again.
Oh, and
The only
look,
Katoa's just gone in under the posts.
how's that catch pass from Will Kennedy in the lead up? And Katoa still had to beat 3 players. That is pathetic
defense.
defense.
He did that piece
Pathetic defense for the Cowboys there. Was it Cogra
Super
against
coach,
Canterbury,
super
and
coach,
did we
top man.
lose the game? So George Phillip says Cogra against Canterbury, and we lost the game.
So it was against Canterbury. Well done, George Phillip. And it was actually a debut of Junior Amone as well. He scored a try on debut, and Matt got a try on debut. That wasn't Max's debut, but the first time they played together in the NRL. Matt and Max first time playing in the NRL. Junior Amone and Matt Fiona got tries on debut. So yeah, it was a memorable day for both Matt and Junior, as well as Max, playing their first game in the NRL together for the first time. So yeah, memorable day, and we did beat the Bulldogs 32 points to 12 that day at Cogra.
All right. Well, Hasman's made a little request. It's a little bit of an unusual request, given this is the preview show for the Bulldogs. But I was very drunk on Tuesday and still did the show. Hasman was obviously even drunker than I was because he refused to come on. He couldn't even talk straight. So yeah, he didn't come on, but he still wants to do Hasman's heroes and villains. So we might go into that segment and listen to Hasman's rant about last week's game. Take it away, Asman. Where are you? Jesus.
Yeah, I'm right here, Donny. We could be looking at another intro video for this one after this. So we'll get through the hero because that's not going to take long. For mine, had to be Tau Moga. 3 tries, 100,000 fucking meters, tackle breaks, all that sort of shit. He was absolutely the best player on the field, as I probably indicated in my 3-2-1 for the game. So that's the heroes out of the way. Now, when it comes to villains, they do not come any worse than Anthony Griffin and the so-called powers that be at the Dragons. Now, just to expand on something that I think Muzza said last week, the logic of the Dragons is to re-sign Jacob Little for another 2 years and then continue to start Moses Mbai under the misguided impression that Little's going to be able to come on and run rings around a tired forward pack. Now, the problem with that is that for that to work, the hooker needs to give the forwards quick service so that they can make meters and give the halves a chance to work their magic and get some repeat sets. However, the so-called board and recruitment team of this club see fit to keep signing players under the misguided impression that they can do for us what they did to us 4 or 5 years ago. The names Mbai, Corey Norman, Aaron Woods, and to a lesser extent, James Graham immediately come to mind. Now, this once great club has been suffocated by the acceptance of absolute mediocrity, and I, for one, am sick of it. As far as I'm concerned, this club will not be competitive until Bruce Gordon sells the club to the owner of the Sydney Kings, who is offering a lot more money and actually gives a shit about the club, and then fucks off back to the Bahamas along the rest of his family and the current so-called administration. So there you go, Donny.
Well, there we go. Indeed, that's a very passionate plea. Get rid of the Gordons out of the get rid of Wynn out of the Dragons and bring in a bit of Sydney Kings. Matty reckons, but
I second that, Donny. I second that.
I know that there was some offer some years ago. I don't know whether he still interested.
I don't think he is anymore. I'll have a chat with a mate of mine who actually knows him, and I'll see if the interest's still there.
You're getting a couple of questions come through on the chat. Grant Rower wants to know about the salary cap money for Cody Ramsey. We do have that later on in the agenda, so we will get to that one. You'll just have to stick with us, Grant, and we'll get to that question a bit later on. But Rob Saguna, he said he spoke to an old ex-Dragon today in John Bailey, and he said he would like Dean Young to be the next coach, and wants to know our thoughts. I might go to you for that one, Big T. What are your thoughts on Dean Young as the next coach for the Dragons?
Well, Dino Young's up there now with Todd Payton at the Cowboys, isn't it? Not going very too well, are they? 20-0 at half time, isn't it? Pretty close to that.
20-4 at the moment. Cowboys are in.
Cowboys have just gone in.
No, Dean Young's not ready yet. Ben Hornby's more ready than Dean Young, I think. But Ben Hornby's been at the Rabbitohs for how long now? 10 years, 9 years. Under Wayne Bennett, under Demetriou. I think I'd rather. We don't get Jason Riles. I'd rather Ben Hornby.
I don't know whether he's been there quite that long. He was at the Dragons until not that long ago, and went over and was under Wayne Bennett for a few years, and now Jason Demetriou.
But he's been in the coaching ranks for 10 years, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was an assistant at the Dragons under Mary, and was there at the same time that Dean Young was the interim coach at the Dragons as well. So him and Dean Young have been in the business for the exact same amount of time, really, as as a coach. But
Yeah, I'm happy with anybody though. I'd be happy if I got the coaching job.
yeah, well, I think that's the problem though, is that we've lurched from anyone but Price, and then we
Yeah.
got Mary, who was worse than Price. And then we've gone anyone but Mary, and we've ended up with Hook, which, you know, in a lot of people's opinions, worse than Mary. Like we keep going anyone but this guy and getting someone worse. It's like
I think
just
think
get
the
someone
only
that's
thing-
good. Not
anything
anyone,
dra-
not anyone but Hook. Get someone that's good.
The only thing the Dragons have improved is their for and against. You go back through the years and they scored minus 124s and it's all over the place. Yeah. The only thing we've improved is their for and against.
Yeah, and there's still time for us to fuck that up too. So, all right, we'll get into discussing our team. And as has been pointed out, the only change to the team at this stage is Max Feeney in for the injured Tau Moga. I suppose I'll go to you, Jesse, given it was your quiz question. But what are you expecting from Max in his first game in 2023 in the top grade?
Yeah, I think he deserves the opportunity. He's been playing pretty well in the New South Wales Cup side for a number of weeks now. Obviously, be looking forward to playing alongside his brother. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully he takes this opportunity with both hands. I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. He hasn't played first grade for I think it's a couple of years now. Actually, he's had a bad run with injuries. Looking forward to see how he goes playing at Wynn Stadium, his home ground. It should be a good occasion for him to. If he has a good performance, he may be looked at to keep his spot going forward into the next few weeks with Mogan not scheduled to return for a number of weeks, I don't think. But yeah, he's pretty similar to his brother. They were both very talented players when they came through the ranks, and yeah, he's been waiting for this opportunity for quite some time, and I'm happy to see him get his chance this week. Well, a lot of people did speculate that the Hook may go down the path of putting Mbai on the wing, but Maxi Feeney is more of a natural winger, and that's what you need this Sunday. And yeah, hopefully he can rise to the occasion and do the job. And yeah, it'd be good to see them playing together again, Max and Matt.
Yeah, I don't think the option of Moses Mbai on the wing crossed Hook's mind for a second, because Moses Mbai is very clearly in Hook's mind the best dummy half at this club. So I don't think that was something that he was thinking or considering at all. So
Well,
I see a lot of confused faces there.
needs to put the fucking crownies down.
What was that?
Hook needs to put the fucking crownies down.
He's got into Dowsty's stash, do you reckon?
I reckon he's deep into Dowsy's stash.
Well, he did say the other night too, the reason he kept Little on the bench for so long because he was defending well.
Oh,
Well, I
get
didn't see that.
fucked. Get fucked.
I don't know what game he was watching.
What the
What
fuck?
do you mean? He only missed 6 tackles. Like, come on.
Only.
Yeah, yeah. In the middle of the
Okay,
field
hell.
where it's easier to defend. Yeah, nah. He's great defensively.
No comment.
Just, yeah.
Brava.
I've given up on bag of boy.
You're giving up bagging him by. There's no
Oh
point.
yeah. At
Oh,
this point,
I mean,
Well,
if everybody does
Is that-
play
this-
on the wing, I mean,
this
that's
is like-
that
this is
takes
his
him
last
out of the
season, isn't it?
equation for fucking Hooker. So, bring it on.
This is his last season.
He's off
Fucking
contract.
Well, yeah, he's off contract. But is it his last season?
Well, if it's Hook's last season, then it will be Empires' last season as well.
and Hunt's, I think.
Well, if
Well,
Hunt's
Hunt's signed
serious
until
about
2025.
that
He's
shit,
not
he
going
can
I
anywhere.
know.
fuck off now.
But we've seen people get rid of contracts before.
Yeah, I reckon there's 2/5 of fuck all chance that Ben Hunt isn't here for the next 2 years. He will be here. He will see out his contract, because I don't think anybody else is giving him that sort of money.
No,
Dolphins want him.
we're the only club stupid enough to fucking give him that much.
Yeah, you're right. The Dolphins missed out on Jack Whiten, so they might
Yeah.
still be after Hunt.
But
Still don't understand
consolation
that
prize,
decision.
they did get Josh Kerr.
They did. Well, we'll talk. We'll
Wasn't
get
Jack
to
White
that.
didn't- Jack White didn't get marquee money at the Raiders, so he left.
He got
No, he did.
offered 1.1 a season.
He got offered
Raiders
huge
for 4
money.
years.
He's
Apparently
taken-
that wasn't marquee money.
He's taking a $300,000 pay cut
Wow.
to go to Souths.
He wants to win a comp. That's what
No.
he says. He
I'd
doesn't
love
think the
to be-
Raiders will win a comp.
I'd love to be able to take a $300,000 pay cut. I'd love to be able to do that.
And what sort of pay cut did Frizzell take to go to Newcastle to win a comp? And how's that fucking working out?
Yeah, I don't think he took a
it-
pay
I think-
cut.
Yeah, he got offered the same money as what we offered him.
He talks bullshit. But
Yeah.
you've got
Well,
to think Souths are in a better position to win a comp in the next couple of years than what the Raiders are, and
Yeah.
you know, they've got a lot of players getting towards the end of their time as well. Guys like Cody Walker and you know they've got quite a few guys that are the other side of 30.
Damien
Yeah.
Cook's another one.
Damien Cook, yeah. So
Tom
they've
Burgess.
a few real key players in their lineup that they need to do it. They need to do it soon, and then Souths are going to come crashing back down to where they were before they got kicked out of the comp.
I think this year they've got a big chance, really, in all honesty.
Yeah,
Playing a lot better this time than last year. A
so
lot better.
I've got Souths fading towards the back end of the year because I think they're too old this year. So Jack White can go on there. That certainly gives them a bit more strength, but it also gives them a bit more age. Another bloke that's the other side of 30. So
Yeah.
I think they're really trying to open that window for another year and try and if they don't get it in the next 2 or 3, probably the next 2 seasons. If they don't get a premiership in the next 2 seasons, I think Souths are done. Their window is very, very tight with the squad that they've got at the moment.
Half time at Shark Park.
Yeah, half time at Shark Park, 20-6. So
Sharks
now that
well in
it's half
control.
time, maybe we'll get a few more people jump on and watch us live. But, we're up
Playing
to
a Thursday night as well.
we're up to 20 odd, usually about double that for the live viewers. But great to have all the people that are on. I'll go to you, Hasman. Given that the team was named less than 24 hours after we played, would you be expecting any late changes to the squad before Sunday?
I honestly don't think the turnaround's got anything to do with it. I'd just be looking at the fact that, Hook basically doesn't make changes unless he's forced to. So the only possible change that I could see is, Jacob Little for Moses and by, 5 seconds before the game starts so that we get another please explain from the NRL. So no, I'm expecting the side to take the field as named.
Gary Abnell says, I'm here. And yeah, you're right, Gary. You're the only one that matters. It's great to have you on there, mate. Love everyone that's actually on there watching. It's brilliant to have you listening in. Big T, Sione Finau on the extended bench for the first time. It's great to see a new name on the extended bench. But is this a further indication that Alex Lobb is not really in the club's long-term plans, or is Finau just a better player and deserves this recognition?
So Finau's the outside back brother, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's the winger.
Yeah. I watched him the other week. He's a flyer, that bloke. He's a goer. I'm not surprised that he's been named in the extended bench. I don't think he'll get a start. I'm excited to see Billy Army Fafita come out. If he gets a run, I'll be excited. Like Big Kev, I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't know that he's done enough to deserve the praise that he's getting from a lot of Dragons fans. Like, he's big, he's a big human, but he's played 45, 50 minutes the last couple of weeks and run for 50, 60, 70 metres. Like, he's not putting up anywhere near the numbers that he needs to be pushing for a first grade spot, in my opinion, at the moment. So whether he is coming back from injury and maybe needs a little bit more time to get his fitness up, I don't know, but he hasn't really impressed me yet.
Finau over Lobb. Lobb's a good player. Isn't he a little bit younger?
Lob's 20. I think they're about the same age. I think
Yeah,
Finau's 22 and Finau's and Lob's 21, I think. So there's not too
Finau
much.
come out of the Melbourne system, didn't he?
Yep.
So he possibly a little bit further ahead advanced than Lob. I'm not sure. It's come out of the Melbourne, and Melbourne a pretty good system.
Yeah, I think Sione Finau's been pretty impressive, but he hasn't really shown the finishing ability so far that I'd like. So far 7 games in New South Wales Cup and just 1 try. Whereas Alex Lobb, he got 3 last week and has scored 6 tries in his 7 games, as well as being a goal kicking option, kicking it close to 70% as well. So,
it's an option.
Finau's a real tackle buster. He does break some tackles, and he's a guy that can get sets off to a good start, and it's nice to see him get recognition in the side. But it's an interesting one. Certainly think that I have heard some rumours that Alex Lobb isn't necessarily in the long-term plans for the Dragons, which I think is a bit disappointing, because I think he's a very talented young player. But Sione Finau gets that spot in the extended squad at the moment.
Well, if he's not in the long-term plans, who the hell is?
Well, Sione Finau, clearly.
Youth, mate, youth.
Many long-term plans.
Pardon?
Doesn't sound like we've got too many long-term plans at this point.
Well, I don't know, mate. We've got the Couchman brothers that have come in. We've got rid of Josh Kerr and looking to bring in Ryan Couchman and Alec Tuatavake, a couple of 19, 20, 21-year-olds to fill that spot. So there's certainly some plans that the Dragons have got in place.
The whole club seems to be going towards youth now. Like the women's team are all fully young girls. Like they go looking at youth, I think.
I might go to you, Jesse. We just sort of brought up in passing there the departure of Josh Kerr, signing with the Dolphins for next year. What are your thoughts on the departure of Kerr? His time so far with the Dragons, and how do you think he's going to go for the rest of the year?
I think he's been enormous. He's made an impact right off the bench when he has played this year, in every game he's played. I think he has a lot of potential. I actually would have loved to see him have a chance in the run-on side at some point now. I thought he would have it at least, with the way the team is going. But I thought he deserved the opportunity. But yeah, he's been great. He's been averaging nearly over 100 meters every game. He's really bent the forward line when he's got the ball. You alluded to a few weeks ago, his quick play the ball is good too. A guy of his size, he's always had potential. I just think he hasn't really delivered on it. But this year I've been really impressed with him, how he's performed. I don't know if I've read into that he's had a bit of a bad blood with Hook. I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently they've dealt with that now that he's showing some good form, playing like we know he can. It's probably I think it will be a big loss, but it's probably good for his career at this time of his career, where he can grow as a player. I think he'll learn a lot going up there to play at the Dolphins under Wayne Bennett. I reckon he'll probably be a potential starting front rower there next year. I think he's definitely done. I really hope he goes well at the Dolphins. Hopefully he can do a job for the rest of the year, and hopefully keep up his form when we see him in the starting side very soon. But thanks, Curry, for all your time at the Dragons. Still got some time left. Hopefully, some memorable memories to go before you leave. And all the best at the Dolphins. And hope you leave the club on a high, because you're a champion bloke, and we wish you all the best.
It seems to be a bit of a pattern with the Dragons. So as soon as the player starts coming good, we let them go. We saw the exact same thing with, who I'm going to say here.
Not yet.
You know who I'm talking about? Jackson Ford. Starts to come good. We let him go to the Warriors. He's absolutely killing it now. Okay, maybe not killing it, but he's playing incredibly well. Josh Kerr's just started to realize how big he is and what sort of damage he can do, and then we let him go as well. It's an absolute fucking theme.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I've seen it a bit since the announcement of Kerr going. As how can the Dragons let him go? It's a two-way street. Like the player also has a choice. He's a Redcliffe boy. He is from Redcliffe, born and bred. It's in his blood. Like that's the club he's always wanted to play for, and now he gets a chance to actually do that. Like the player has a choice too. Josh Kerr is deciding that he wants to go back home to Redcliffe, and I don't begrudge him that. But I think it's wrong to say that this is a choice the Dragons have made. This is a choice Josh Kerr has made, and fair enough. That's how he wants to do. So long as he continues to play at the level that he has been playing at so far this year, I've got no problem with it whatsoever. It's pretty normal in the modern game for a player to sign on with another club for next year and then and continue playing for his current club.
Yeah. And like you said, when you were a kid, you want to play for the club you play, like you supported. Like as a kid, I wanted to play for the Dragons for sure. But would that be a recruiting tool you could use to recruit players to the club? They must be Dragon supporters as kids, like.
No, Ben Harron's a tool you can use.
Oh, what? Sorry, mate.
Ben Harron's a tool you can use.
He's got no idea.
He's a tool of no use, isn't he?
No use.
He's just as bad as Hook.
Who's he brought? Boy.
No one.
Aaron Woods. He bought.
Aaron.
Well, Aaron Woods is playing for his childhood team now, so it's a dream. It's playing a dream.
Yeah, well, it's not a bad suggestion though, Big T, in terms of if you've got a bloke that I'm certainly one. I know you are one as well that grew up in a different junior area. I grew up in the Penrith area, and was always a mad Dragons fan. Yeah. And I think you were in the Campbelltown West area. So again, while we weren't good enough, and clearly
Campbelltown was Newtown first.
Yeah.
Newtown, Campbelltown Jets.
Yeah, so while we might have grown up as juniors in different areas, we still would have loved to
always
play
a mad dragon. Always a mad dragon.
Yeah.
Since I come over from the UK, always.
You might have some absolute guns coming through the Penrith juniors, or the MacArthur juniors, or wherever up in Brisbane that might be mad Dragons fans, always want to play for our club, and you might be able to entice them over to come and play for the Dragons just for the thrill of pulling on the red V. It's not the worst recruiting tactic. I'm sure there's plenty of recruiters that do exactly that, in terms of finding out what team you grew up supporting. And
I've got one mate that did that, Colin Sakuru. He played for the Dragons in the 90s, and it was his dream to play NRL for the Dragons. So.
Sorry, mate. I'm just reading the comments. Rob Sakura. I don't even know where this comes from. I don't even know what imagine Hook being the ringmaster at a circus. Fucking boring circus.
I wouldn't be going.
I love our fans. They're great.
I love Rob Saguna. He's fantastic.
Yes.
He's
very loyal supporter.
Maybe get him on during a buy round.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. We might struggle to get a word in with.
Why wait till the buy round? Why wait?
All right. A bit of a follow-up question on that, Hasman, on the Kerr thing. Who should the Dragons be looking to target to replace Kerr for next year?
Aaron Woods.
Obviously. Yeah, bring him home. Bring him home. That's what the fans want.
Bring him home. Tyson Vazell. I don't know. Bring fucking bring Cray out of retirement for all the fucking difference it'll make. Because, you know, although
I've seen
have
Michael Wayman training this week. He's looking pretty good.
who is?
Michael Wayman.
Well, he's about
And
the
I
right,
also heard
the right age for Hawk.
Also heard they're going to replace Cody Ramsey with Gerard Beale. Gerard Beale's coming back to replace Cody Ramsey.
Actually, there's one thought that I have heard being mentioned, and that's Jack Marketo. I bet they're looking at him to come out of retirement.
My God, you've been of no help whatsoever there. Rory McDonald says Matt Lodge, which I don't think that's the worst suggestion of all time, but replacing that would be some Roosters level shit to replace a $200,000 player in Josh Kerr with an $800,000 player in Matt Lodge.
So you get suspended every other fucking week.
Bring back George Rose.
Okay, let's go out to Victor Radley so he can get suspended every fucking week.
Bring back George Rose.
Yeah, Georgie. Yeah,
right.
I'd like them to go for Franklin Pele, playing at the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs at the moment, I think.
Pele? You reckon?
Pele, he looks like a superstar of the future. He's big, he's strong, he's quick. So I'd like to see him at the Red V.
I remember when he was at the Sharks, and I always said he was too big. He was a rugby union front rower rather than a rugby league front rower. His lateral movement not quite where it needed to be. He has trimmed down a bit. He's slimmed down a bit now, and he's certainly a damaging ball runner. I just worry about him defensively in around the middle of the ruck, and we've got enough troubles there to begin with.
If we get him and develop him into a better player, he'd be a good boy.
Well, Big T, you know who I love to see? You know what I'd love to see running around in the Red V, Big T?
Who's that, mate?
You'll have to help me a little bit here.
Oh, God, here we go.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Not sure the pronunciation of his last name.
Do we want Tino or Isaac? Which one do we want?
There's a guy that plays for the Gold Coast. His first name's Tino. I'm not sure the pronunciation of his last name.
I think you're pretty good. Isaac. I reckon I had Tino's all right. Tino's all right. But I promise.
Say his name.
No, can you help us out? How do you pronounce his name?
Oh, come on, man. You can't get me again. Pasumala Aoi.
You got to give the people what they want. That's
they want to hear it.
You've got to say Pasumala Aoi every single week.
I've been going through teams in the just going through for the next ones we come up against. Western Suburbs has got a couple of interesting players I might have to pronounce in that team too. So watch out for that one.
Linguistics with Big T.
I'm trying.
I remember. So Yuto Ikamanu, who's at the West Tigers.
Yuto Ikamanu, yeah.
So I remember I actually when he was at Parramatta playing SG ball, and I called a game that I commentated a game where he was playing in, and I didn't get his name too far wrong, and I was only guessing based off just looking at it. It was. It's one of those names that you sort of see and go, geez, I don't know how the hell I'm going to say this, and you practice it all week.
I know. I've got to go through the pronunciation tool that I've got. And I type their name in, and they tell me how to say it. So I'll practice it.
But there's a couple of suggestions that have come through. George Phillips says, let's get Josh Maguire back. Peter Placido Veneziano. There's a good one for you to practice.
Yeah, we done that the other week. He won
He won the trivia question. Yeah.
He won nothing in the trivia the other week.
We need to get a sponsor on board for the trivia, so we actually do have a prize to give people. But at the moment, it's just bragging rights. But Peter got it last week. He says bring back Luke Bailey. Robert Segurna says, what about some of the long bay props like the Sharks have?
Russell Packer.
Trent Boram's actually got a more legitimate suggestion in Jordan McLean from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He's the wrong side of 30 though, too. He
Yeah,
fits
that's
the bill for us.
But that doesn't matter for
Hook
us.
likes
Yes,
them.
you know that by now.
But I think I've already told you exactly who we're replacing Josh Kerr with, and it's Ryan Couchman and Alec Tuatavaki. Like
Yeah.
these guys have
Yeah.
already been upgraded to
Yes.
the top 30 for next year. Like they're two young blokes that are coming into our squad. So
Like I said before, it looks like we're going for youth now and get rid of the older guys. And
That's what we should be doing.
Which
exactly right. Well,
which
like I
tells
said
you that
before,
Hook's definitely not going to fucking be there next year because he's not a big fan of the young guys, is he?
like I said before, the women are bringing in the younger girls. They have a couple of older heads in the team, but they're bringing in the younger girls. So
Oh,
yeah,
we-
but they've got a bloody coach who's actually seen the game the last fucking 20 years.
true.
yeah, well, it was pretty clear that that Hook certainly didn't see the game at all last week. Asked about Zach Lomax, a pitch invader coming in on and giving Zach Lomax a hug, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't see that." And
What the?
said that Moses Mbai defended well. So I don't know what he was watching, but it was not the game of rugby league that
He
was
was,
happening.
he was
out in
watching the
field in
bloody
front of
coke,
him.
bloody cans of coke in front of him. That's what he was bloody watching. Fucking
Ah.
stupid idiot.
It was definitely a really strange press conference where Hook apparently didn't see anything that happened during the course of the game.
No.
So that's just one more thing to be concerned about as a Dragons fan. But some viewer questions that got sent through before the show tonight. We've actually got a series of 4 questions from Terry Evans that has been sent through. So it's all about Junior Amone and Jaden Sullivan. I'll start with you, Big T, with the first of the 4 questions that he's got. The first part in this series. Junior Amone and Jaden Sullivan, will they now be targets for cashed up clubs like the Raiders, Dogs, and Tigers?
For sure, if they don't get used in the Dragons team. I spoke to Junior Amone on Sunday. I think it was at Campbelltown Stadium. I asked him how he was. He said he was all right. I met a few of his sisters and a couple of nephews. We had a good chat. We had a laugh. Moses Sully was there too. But if cashed up clubs come in and we're not using them properly, and they're going to tell them you're going to get a starting spot at our club, they're going to leave, aren't they? Josh Kerr going to leave because they've offered a starting spot at the Dolphins, I'd say.
Yeah, and as I say, there is a series of questions, so I'm not going to follow up with you too much there. I'll
Fair
go
enough.
straight to Jesse with the follow up. How can the Dragons expect to recruit effectively for next year with no recruitment manager and lingering doubts about the coach?
Yeah, like I read Ben Heron said that last week. He said we can't sign anyone until we've got until a decision is made on the coach. I'm hearing that they're not in any rush to make a decision on it. I don't know why they're holding it back. They've got to do it very soon, I think, because there's not that many players, big name players to go for next year, and we're going to need something to what would bring someone to come play for the Dragons? Seriously, that is my question. What attracts big name players to come to the Dragons the way we are at the moment?
Well, fucking
We hope
fantastic
the love
fans
of the
like
Dragons
us.
to be about the only thing.
Yeah, like that's one thing. What's the attraction?
That'd be the only thing.
Those fantastic fans like us.
Well, that's one thing. Yeah, we'll go. Yeah, we just got to get that right. I've heard Nathan Brown's been linked to that job. We've looked at Alex McKinnon as well, who played for us many years ago. He's been looked at as well for that job. Yeah, but I think they need some. Nathan Brown knows what success looks like at the Dragons when he coached us. McKinnon was part of some good sides when he played for us. I think they've got to get it right. No, someone that can knows someone that's been a successful club. McKinnon's had success when he bought well for Newcastle in the last couple of years. Just like, well, he got Jackson Hastings at the club. He recruited Dom Young. Nathan Brown assembled a lot of that Newcastle talent when he was coaching there. So at the time, they were quite some handy players. They don't have to be all-round superstars as long as they all buy into what the Dragons are, and they all have to put in as a team. I don't think we need genuine superstars. Just need they play as a team, work for hard for one another. And I think they need someone that will maybe they be there for the coach that has a good working relationship with him. That could be a reason why Hook got rid of Flanos. He didn't want him on his coaching staff. But there's something there that they don't get along. We just need someone there that knows what they're doing and can attract players. And we've got to have a motto, I think, like what we're playing for, what's our DNA? What do we want to see from our players at the Dragons? What are we playing for? That's what we've got to make it strong. We've got to have a viewpoint and say this is where we want to go. This is our plan for the year. We have this plan for the future as well. We've got to have a plan set in place, 5-year plan or something like that. I don't see any sort of plan at all for the club. At least
I've got to say that promoting McKinnon and Brown because they put the Newcastle squad together. That's classic Dragons thinking. Let's look at the team that's running 12th instead of 14th and go. That's where we want to be. I don't know. I think aim a little higher.
they
Counterpoint
did.
to that, Donny. Have a look at the best hooker in our squad. You might have heard of him. His name's Jacob Little.
No, it's Moses Mbai you're talking about, I'm pretty sure.
Dickhead. Jacob Little, where did he come from and where is his former team been sitting the last couple of years?
The Wooden Spooners last year.
The defence rests.
Like, even look at England. There's a lot of talent in England. Why don't we have a look over there and have a look at talent? There's definitely some players out there that would love to have a crack at the NRL. I thought. We've seen Canberra look good a few times.
Speaking of England,
there is talent over there.
Replacement for Cody Ramsey. The human turnstile himself, Matt Duffy. Let's bring him back.
All right.
Actually, going to say Paul Vaughan.
Adam Quinlan.
I don't think Vaughan is a particularly good fullback.
Okay, Hasman, going on with Terry's series of questions. He says, with Little and Hunt now both signed to long-term deals, what incentive is there for Sullivan and Amone to stay?
Look, very good question. I think for Sullivan, the incentive is being told that when Hunt finally leaves, he is the club's perceived long-term halfback, assuming he doesn't get the shits and just piss off in the meantime. As far as Amone is concerned, look, I still have my doubts about him personally. I don't think his attack is as good as it needs to be at this point. But look, as far as why would he stay? I mean, what other clubs are looking at him at this point?
Yeah, and I think
he's been in reserve grade for X amount of time.
Well, I think the big
in and out of the first grade side as is Sullivan, but Sullivan's going to be the long-term halfback. That I think that's, unless they change their mind, that is obvious. But with Amone, I just don't. I'm not convinced with him at this point. He's been in and out of the first grade side. His form's been a little bit up and down. What other clubs are looking at him? Where else would he go at this point?
Yeah, I think Junior's definitely going to have some options. I think he's definitely got some fans around the NRL that think that he's got some talent. But I think in terms of Sullivan, he's contracted until exactly the same time as Ben Hunt is. So if you say that Hunt and Little are on long-term contracts, so is Sullivan. He's contracted until the end of 2025.
But Sullivan's
He's
been
not going
told,
anywhere.
Sullivan's been told, as is my understanding, when Ben Hunt goes, he will be the first choice halfback if he is still at the club at that point.
Yeah, he was told that when he signed his contract, when this was supposed to be Hunt's last year, and then Hunt got extended. That's why he requested a release, because he was told he would be the halfback, first choice halfback, starting next year. Like if he has to wait until 2025, then he's going to be 25 himself by the time he gets his first gig as a halfback. Like he would be a starting half, I reckon, at 10 other NRL clubs right now.
Ben Hunt was about 25 when he got his first start.
Yeah, and that's the problem though. That's the problem though, is that Ben Hunt and like guys like Ben Hunt and Cooper Cronk, they had to wait until they were 24, 25 before they got their first gig. So Jayden Sullivan should be happy to do that too. Jayden Sullivan's ready right now. Jayden Sullivan would be the starting half at about 10 other NRL clubs straight away, including our opposition.
You look at Nathan Cleary. He's
Okay,
25
name
and
the
he's the best
7
halfback
clubs
in
he
the
wouldn't
game.
be at.
He's 25 and he's the
Name
best
the
halfback in
7
the game,
clubs that
Cleary.
Sullivan wouldn't be the first choice halfback at.
Well, Penrith, off the top of my head.
Cronulla.
Yeah, I'd have to have a look, mate, and go through them. But I haven't done it before.
He'd be the first choice halfback at, say the Roosters. No,
No,
Yes.
not Luke Keary.
No, he would be the first choice halfback at the Roosters. 100%. He's better than Sam Walker.
Oh, he's better than Sam Walker. Yeah.
Better than Sam Walker, and Keary's a 5'8". So he would be the first choice halfback at the Roosters.
He definitely would be at the Tigers. Anyone's better than Luke Brooks.
Well, no one's better than Luke Brooks, according to the Tigers coaching staff. He's
I'll tell you what. On Sunday at Campbelltown, the crowd were 1,000% behind kicking Brooks out. They were giving him heat. They were giving him heat. The poor bloke, I reckon he was crying. They were warming up before the game. The West fans were ruthless. They were ruthless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
26-6 now as well. Sharks over the Cowboys. 26-6.
The Sharks well and truly in control. Looks like Muzza might finally get the first leg of his multi up, which we will go into a little bit later. Big T, last question from Terry. Again, on sort of the same topic. How do Bud and Junior get the chance to play as halves partners at the Dragons, or is it simply a case of they won't?
I think if we brought any other coach into the Dragon system, they would have a Monet and Bud Sullivan playing at half and 5'8", and they would tell Ben Hunt, "You're going to 9, son. That's where you're going. You're going to 9." And have Little as the 14. It's gonna. I don't know. I don't know what Hook doesn't see. Everybody else in the world can see it. I don't know what Hook does. He's walking around blind. Like I said before, Umboy had a great defensive game on the weekend. Like I said, missed 6 tackles. Fuck's sake. My God.
Big T, I'll tell you what Hook sees. He sees the nude pictures of himself that Moses Zamba has.
Yeah, Rob Segurno just keeps pointing out that what Hook sees is the DNA test that proves that Hook is actually Umboy's dad.
Ben Hunt's the other one.
Jesse, different tack. Now we go to Johnny Burke's question. He says that the Peter Gentle got sacked as the defensive coach last year, but we are still missing upwards of 40 tackles every game. And he wants to know who was it that replaced Peter Gentle, and should there be some pressure placed on him?
Yes, I haven't heard of a coach that gets rid of his assistant coaches before. Like, and he keeps his job. Like that's very strange. Yeah, and he's brought in 2 unknowns to the roles as well. I don't know on top of my head who's in charge of the defense. Do you know, Donny?
That's Wolf, Ben Wolf.
That's Wolf. Yeah, it hasn't improved. I think it's worse actually. The way the Roosters scored their opening tries last Tuesday was very alarming, especially the way Tedesco went through. Egan Butcher made him look silly, and then putting Tedesco over under the post, and then the Radley one. Oh, yeah, our defense is probably one of the worst in the comp, if not the worst. And that's their major letdown. There's like when the Dragons are defending, they just let in some really ordinary tries. Like that's the really thing that lets them down. Like they can score tries, there's no doubt about that when they're on, but yeah, there's no resilience or anything in that side when they're on the back foot defending, and they just can't hold on to long periods of time either. And I don't think there's any connection in defense, no communication. They look too disjointed. I think they're waiting too long in defense to the other team runs to them before they can get to the tackle. A lot of the times their backs turned to them, like they're waiting for the opposition team to run to them instead of they should be rushing up on them, getting in their face. They really need some hard nuts there that really know how to tackle. And we don't have those sorts of defenders. I think DeBellin's our best defender, but I couldn't say anyone else that's really a standout defender. Yeah, it's really disappointing because you need some really solid defenders. They're professional first grade footballers. They should know how to make their tackles and do all their work. Like I don't know what it is.
I suppose in terms of missed tackles, so the Cowboys, Dolphins, and Bulldogs are the only teams with more missed tackles than us.
Yeah, that is alarming. Like, well, the Cowboys were one of the better defensive sides last year, but that's changed now. Yeah, it's just I don't see that as I don't look as the Cowboys or Dolphins or Bulldogs. I don't think we can't worry about what they do. We got to worry about where we're doing. And yeah, to be in those bottom 4 teams of the worst defense in the comp, that's just unacceptable. The first thing you want to do to get right is your defense. And I think if you get your defense right, your attack will come. And yeah, we're leaking 25 points a game on average this year. You're not going to win any games.
In terms of points against, so the Dolphins, Tigers, Bulldogs, and Titans all have conceded more points than us, and the Eels are only 1 point better than us. So we're certainly not the bottom, but not where we want to be either.
No,
Cowboys in trouble, Donny. Coward House sent to the bin.
I think, yeah. If you're going to win games in the NRL, you've got to keep teams to at least 2 or 3 tries a game. If you're keeping them less than 2 tries a game, you'll win a lot of games of football. We got to score at least 24 to 30, I think, consistently to win regular games in the NRL. If you're conceding 25 plus points a game, you're not going to win many games.
I missed it, but John Muller said it's a sin bin for a trip. Big T, did you actually see the incident?
I didn't see it. I looked down and he was trotting off the field. 26-6 and Cowboys have got the ball in their own line.
Yeah, about 25 minutes still to go, but yeah, it's a player in the bin, and the Sharks have just come up with the ball there. With 24 minutes to go, they're about ready to put them to bed, leading by 20 already. Let's see how ruthless the Sharks want to be in this last couple of sets. All right, we'll go to a question now, Hasman, from Everything NRL. Wants to raise the impact of the short turnaround. We've got a 5-day turnaround after an emotional game. It was also pretty tough and fiercely contested. Well, the Dogs have got an 8 to 9 day turnaround. Is this an advantage for the Dogs?
I think on balance it probably is. Historically we don't have a very good record with a short turnaround, and I think the Dogs will be a little bit better rested having that extended break. So I think if it's a tough physical game the way that I think it will be, I think the Dogs probably will have the edge, being a lot fresher than what we're going to end up being. The only way that that gets countered is if, Hook has an epiphany and all of a sudden realizes how to use his fucking bench right, which he hasn't done so far, the entire fucking time he's been here. So, but hope springs eternal. Maybe he's learned a few things the last couple of days. So who knows?
Yeah, I think 5-day turnarounds is something that is talked about a lot as being a massive disadvantage to teams. The stats don't really back that up. So there was an article from the Rugby League eye test. It was actually back in 2020, so it's a little while ago. About and it had 1,000 different graphs over long periods of time in terms of different turnaround times for teams. And a team after a 5-day turnaround at home actually has a significantly better record over about a 20-year period than a team with a 10-day turnaround. So it doesn't really have the impact, I don't think, that a lot of people seem to think it does. I think, backing up after a 5-day turnaround, it might not necessarily be the worst thing for the Dragons. So hopefully that does work in our favour, that it doesn't change our chances of beating the Bulldog side. Big T, Johnny Burke, he has another question, wants our thoughts on how the Melbourne Storm get the bye after Anzac Day and we get shafted with a round 1 bye and a short turnaround before the game.
I don't think it was done by any measure. I think it was just the way the draw came out.
Who puts the draw out?
It comes from a Canadian draw making company or something, doesn't it?
Canadian Melbourne Storm fan company.
Possibly. No, but I don't think it just gets put into the computer, and some teams get to pick what games they want to play, and then the Anzac Day games will be put into the computer, and it randomly spits out Melbourne. I don't know if they selected that bye round, but I don't think they did. So it's randomly selected. So
yeah, it's randomly selected and benefits Melbourne somehow.
Oh, somehow, yeah.
Randomly selected my ass.
No, but I don't think it's done on purpose. Just the way it turned out, actually. It could have been the Roosters or Melbourne or Warriors who had the bye next week, but Melbourne got it. Lucky to them.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I think having the bye after Anzac Day, particularly when it's on a Tuesday, is certainly very, very beneficial. And it's
and their Anzac Day game was a big game as well.
Exactly right. But why do they get it?
They come from behind win. Melbourne Storm were actually ripping them apart early in the game, and then Melbourne came back. So
George Phillip points out that the bye has helped us out because it looks a lot better sitting where we are on the ladder rather than where we would be if we didn't have the bye.
It does actually. Both the Cowboys, who are getting absolutely pizzled now, it's 32-6. On the attack.
36-6.
36-6, mate.
Try.
Yeah, I was going to say that's why I suggested everyone should be watching it on Channel 9 tonight. But
sorry, guys.
that was a very, very good catch there from Drinkwater. Yeah, no, nicely done. Could you imagine if Tyrell Sloan?
That was a Ben Hunt special, that one.
Could you imagine if Tyrell Sloan did something like that? How would the Dragons fans be reacting?
You get dropped for the next fucking 8 weeks.
But Nico Hyde down the blind side, just puts it up.
Well, it was a shit little kick, really. It was a shitty little half bomb.
He drops it cold.
Yeah, just dropped it with no pressure on him.
My 3-year-old grandson could have caught that.
Easiest try to score ever. One of them.
by the Dally M medalist of the year. I called early on.
The New South Wales Origin 5/8, I reckon.
Yeah, Trent
Yeah,
Forum
he-
says
he-
we can't complain because the Roosters and Warriors have the same turnaround and they play against each other. Well, look, I think them playing against each other is actually an advantage because it doesn't actually advantage anyone. The only one that's disadvantaged is us
us.
playing a team that's coming off a 9-day turnaround that's going to be a lot fresher than us. But as I
Well,
say,
coming off,
the
those
stats actually don't support that a 5-day turnaround's a bad thing.
no,
So.
but those niggling injuries at 9 days will be able to cover a bit more than 5 days. You know, like
Yeah.
And the Roosters
they've
had to
got
fly
more-
to New Zealand today as well, actually. They've gone on to New Zealand already to get ready.
All right. Well, I've got a whole heap of stats for the next bit, because there's been a lot of questions that have come through about this particular issue. But I'll go to you, Jesse, just because I need another beer. Goal kicking options. Who would be your choice?
Where do I start? We've got Bud Sullivan. But obviously, he can't kick because he's not in the first grade side, but he has kicked before. He's kicking the goals for the New South Wales Cup side at the moment. Ben Hunt he's kicked a bit early in his career. Couldn't go any worse. And then there's obviously probably the most hated dragon at the moment, Moses Mbye, who's kicked goals previously in his career at the Bulldogs, a little bit at the Tigers as well. Maybe there's Tyrell Sloan. He does a lot of the kickoffs and the restart, so he must practice those during the
That
week.
doesn't mean he can kick goals, though, mate. Doesn't mean he can kick goals.
True, but who knows?
He did kick a goal from the sideline in a trial game last year, so he can kick goals.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
one kick doesn't mean he can kick, but
No.
Can you kick one from the sideline? Yeah, give him a crack.
oh, if you gave me 100 goes, yeah, might be able to get.
I might get one above the crossbar once.
And I heard Lomax he doesn't want to change. He's been told that this new kicking tee is the way to go. It's going to be good for him going forward, but none of the fans have seen that. We're not seeing it.
Well, Daryl Halligan's the guy that's telling him that it pays off in the long run. He's the kicking coach, and you'd have to say Daryl Halligan is probably a pretty good judge. He's been a kicking master for a very long time. His career percentage, Zach Lomax, at 76.3%. So far this year, though, obviously 21 from 35 at just 60%, which is well below his career percentage. On Tuesday, he did miss 2 from the sideline, but there was still one important kick that he just didn't strike well and never looked a chance. So obviously he's under a bit of pressure with his goal kicking. But you mentioned quite a few names there, Jesse. I've gone through the other members of the 17, had a look at what they've done as goal kickers. So Ben Hunt has kicked in the NRL before, has a total of 25 from 37 in his career at just 67.6%. So not exactly shooting the lights out. Also hasn't successfully kicked a goal since 2015. So it's been a long time since Ben Hunt has kicked goals. I'm not sure he's actually a legitimate option. Jack Bird hasn't kicked a lot, but he has kicked 7 from 11 in his career. That's at 63.6%. Yeah, obviously hasn't kicked a lot, and his success rate isn't that great. But I guess if I'm looking at an option, I'm probably looking at a guy more like Jack Bird that has a bit of experience. That it might be nice to just let Lomax focus on his general play and take the pressure of goal kicking away from him for a little while. Jack Bird, to me, seems like worth a thought at least, even though his career percentage isn't much better than what Zach Lomax is doing so far this year. Jesse, you mentioned Moses Mbye. He's probably the most prolific goal kicker that we've got in our 17 at the moment, with 140 career goals from 204 attempts. at 68.6%, so not too far below 70% in his career. And he hasn't kicked since 2020, but I guess the issue with Moses Mbai becoming the goal kicker is that most Dragons fans don't want him on the field for any longer than about 20 minutes. So how many attempts is he going to get? And we'll talk a little bit about that, about how effective we are with Moses Mbai on the field in terms of scoring points anyway. So probably won't get too many shots at goal. And the last time he did kick in 2020, it was only kicking at 64.4%. So his most recent history as a goal kicker is not that flash. It doesn't seem like much of an upgrade. Jaden Sullivan, not in the 17 at the moment. It has been kicking goals in New South Wales Cup, but so far this season in New South Wales Cup, he's only 8 from 13 at 61.5%, which, again, not that bloody good. He's not exactly the sharpshooter we're looking for. If he is in the NRL side, do we really want him focused on goal kicking or just being the best player he can be as a rookie? Tyrell Sloan, pretty much the same thing. I think he kicked 1 from 2 from the sideline in the trial game. Overall, where I land is that Zach Lomax is still the best option in our team. He's working with the best in the business. He's the guy that's working the hardest at the craft. He, as you said, Jesse, he wants to keep doing it. I don't know. Moses Mbai, Jack Bird seem the most likely alternatives, but they're not great alternatives, are they?
No, they're not. They're not first choice. They never have been. Or Mbai was back in the day when he was at the Tigers and Bulldogs. But as you said, he won't play in 80 minutes. You really need someone that's going to be on the field for the 80 minutes as well, and can kick him around from anywhere. Hasn't kicked for a few years. That could come into it as well. I see Jamie Soward actually quite a bit with Zach Lomax too when he's doing warm-ups, practicing goals, training, etc. Do you think Jamie Soward would be telling him anything as well? Like he was a sharpshooter in his time and had a different approach to kicking goals.
Jamie Soward is the kicking coach, the kicking in general play coach. So he's there at training all the time. He would certainly be passing on different tips and passing on some of his wisdom. And the same as anybody who's kicked goals. I'm sure anybody who's ever kicked a goal at any level, every time they see Zach Lomax will be passing on a couple of tips. Whether he takes them or not is another thing.
Yeah, Jamie Soward from anywhere. He was a great kicker. He usually kicked 4 into 6 for us. And yeah, won us a lot of games back in the day.
Yep. All right. So yeah, in terms of the goal kicking problem with Zach Lomax, I don't think there's an easy solution. I think Zach Lomax is still the best option that we've got. If he keeps kicking at 60%, that's probably completely different. But yeah, I think for the time being, I think he is the best option. All right, we've got Chloe that has jumped on and has joined us. So I might go to you with the next viewer question, which comes from Andrew Galuzzo. And he said he wants to know, why doesn't Hook start with Little instead of Mbai? But I'll actually put it a different way. Are we actually going better with Little on the field than Mbai? Or is this just Dragons fans making that up in their own head?
Well, hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late. That's a very good question, Andrew. These two, because we just re-signed Little and he's still on the bench and Mumbai's on there instead of him. And it actually shits me because I think Little needs to get on the field more than Mumbai. And it's not just Dragons fans. I think everyone has the same idea. Keep Mumbai off and let Little on for more minutes so he can actually play. When he came on in the second half of the game on Tuesday, it was a huge difference. Huge, So I think, sorry, Mumbai, but get on the bench. Bring on Little. Come on.
I think that's the general consensus. I've actually gone through and I actually did this before Zero Tackles article came out today, but I've gone through, done the stats, done all the work, and just looked at exactly what difference Jacob Little is making to this team compared to Moses Mbai. So Little at 9, Mbai at 9. So far this season, Jacob Little has played 297 minutes to Mbai's 272. So Little has played slightly more minutes, but in the time on the field at dummy half, we've conceded 92 points with Mbai and 85 with Little on the field. So we concede slightly more with Mbai, despite the fact that he has played less minutes. But I think most people would say the big difference is in attack, not in defence. Still, defensively, we are slightly better statistically with Little on the field than we are with Mbai. So I suppose I'll go back to you again, Chloe. What sort of difference would you expect in attack between Jacob Little and Moses Mbai?
Well, for starters, Little has more like endurance speed than Mumbai. I feel like Mumbai can be a bit slow, the tackling, and it really frustrates me. Like, he just seems a bit slow. And we need people.
I'll put it a different way, Chloe. So in attack, we've scored 62 points.
Okay.
While Moses Mbai has been on the field. 62 points with Moses Mbai. How many points do you think we scored with Jacob Little on the field?
Oh, God, I don't know. 70. I don't know. I just think of 70. I'm just thinking of a number right now.
92 with Jacob Little.
Holy shit.
30 more points we've put on the scoreboard with Little on the field compared to Moses Mbai.
Wow, that is I'm shocked.
So overall, with Little on the field, we are +7 points differential and -30 with Mbai on the field.
Yeah, see, Hook. See. I hope you're watching tonight, mate, because, fuck him off.
Now, one thing that I have done that Zero Tackle didn't do is I've broken that down into an 80-minute performance. So say we had the same dummy half on the field for the full 80 minutes.
Okay.
If we've got Little on the field for the full 80 minutes, we win 26 points to 24. With Moses Mbai on the field, we'd lose 27 points to 18. That's a considerable difference. Like, that's not a small difference.
I know. Oh, see, and that's only one player like positions. Like, that's unbelievable. That is just wow.
Big T, do these numbers surprise you, or does it confirm what you thought you were seeing?
Oh, it confirms what everyone thought they were seeing, that we were a better attacking team with Little on the field. And look, like Chloe said before, you've seen that in the second half against the Roosters. I think I know both Little and Mbai only ran for 3 or 4 runs in that game, and I think it was like 46 to 44 meters or something. So it wasn't much difference in what they played. But I don't know.
Yeah. You said you don't want to bag Mbai anymore. You're done. You've had enough.
I have, man. Like I said before, I don't want to bag him anymore. But the stats are there, Donnie. You've done the stats. And I believe that you did do them before Zero Tackle. That's how much of an honest man I think you are. But
I got to be honest. Like, I saw the article from Zero Tackle. I said, "Go and get fucked." Seriously, like I spent hours this morning doing the work, and then they released this article, and it's like, that is like exactly the same thing that I researched this morning, and I'm sure they did it a lot quicker than I am. Because
check your computer, Donnie. Check your computer.
Yeah,
I reckon they've got a tap.
Yeah,
they got a tap.
You
done all the work.
Yeah,
but, no, they are.
I accidentally forwarded all my research to them.
Oh, there you go. That's what happened.
But what you should
Didn't
do,
say Donnie Bell in the article, did it?
Research
Said Donnie Bell in the article. That's what it said. That's who wrote it. No, but I think, like the stats say, Little this should be our starting halfback, and bring Mumbai on when he's needed. I like not Mbai.
Well,
Mbo's not fucking needed. The problem is that Little isn't an 80-minute half, 80-minute
Not yet.
at this point.
Not
It's
yet.
something that apparently they are working on, but I mean, he has to start, because if Mbo starts and then, Little's only getting, bloody 40, 45 minutes. I mean, we've seen before the game's, pretty much fucking over by that point, if Mbo starts.
That's right, yeah.
I think the big issue is that Mbai is not a good secondary option. Like you look at a lot of the other teams that are up near the top, and that they might have a dummy half that's not an 80-minute dummy half, but their second option is pretty decent as well. You look at our opponents on the weekend having a guy like Josh Darling coming on off the bench, and that's a pretty good option to be able to bring on. Moses Mbai doesn't. What does he provide? What does he actually bring? That is the benefit.
I would not have Moses Mbai as the backup hooker for the fucking Dapto Canaries at this point. I mean, they probably wouldn't fucking have him anyway, but
Yeah, no, I think they've got. Well, they used to have Nathan Feen, didn't they? The Dapto Canaries. So, they used to have
Collies, he was.
Collies. Yeah.
I mean, fucking
Mike Laurie was a
Up
Canary.
the Canaries. Up
Mary's
the
a canary.
Canaries.
Mary's a Canary. There you
I'd
go.
rather bring in, I'd rather pull fucking, Nathan Feen or, fucking Piggy Riddell out of retirement and
Dan
have them
Young.
come as a 14 than bloody Mbai.
Oh, Piggy Riddell. Oh.
Actually, Piggy Riddell would probably
It's not
solve
over.
goal kicking issues as well.
Oh,
Remember
he
when
was
he
a good
ran
kicker.
that-
He always
he
said
sat
it's
in the
not
crowd?
over. I loved when he used to do that all the time before he
I
kicked.
know.
Everyone would do it with him.
It's going over. It's going over.
I love that one he kicked at Suncorp all those years ago.
Oh, from bloody 60 metres out or something stupid.
And we had half our team out. We beat the Broncos, a star-studded Broncos side. Oh, you can't beat the time he
Well,
jumped into the
I'll tell
grandstand
you
and
what.
thought his own try.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was against Parramatta, wasn't it?
Cowboys.
Parramatta?
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
And our next 4 weeks after the Bulldogs are going to be vital games for us.
Well, we got the Tigers, and then the I think the 5 games after that. God, there's some,
Cowboys.
well,
They're the one they are.
So
the team playing
Cowboys
tonight.
in
The
town.
We
Cowboys
can,
up
beat,
there.
we can beat the Cowboys.
in
Cowboys
Townsville.
up there.
though.
In the
We
bloody
don't have a
race
good record in Townsville.
at Cogra.
Doesn't matter. Records are meant to be broken.
True.
The Dolphins. Then we got after
Oh,
that.
that was a
And the
bad
Roosters.
kick.
And the Roosters
Dolphins,
again.
we won't have Hunt
Penrith.
for that game.
Yeah, Dolphins are without Origin players, so
It's
Only
a
Hunt.
brilliant-
So Bud will get his chance at halfback there.
Well,
Oh, Hunt won't bloody get picked for.
no,
Origin.
Mbai will go half back.
Hunt will 100% get picked for Origin. You're kidding, aren't you?
Fuck
I
off.
think he will.
They won last year with that team. He'll get picked. But I
Hunt
think
will be
Grant
the
will
first
probably
one
be the
picked for
starting hooker.
Queensland.
I think Harry Grant gets a starting hooker for Queensland, but I don't care about Queensland.
Queenslander.
Oh, hell no.
All right, I'm going
Like what
to
Nico Hines said.
I'm going to
Football
use the
beats
boot
the
bucket
shit, but
button for the second
no.
Oh,
one.
no, no,
tonight.
no, 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 no. I'm sorry. I'm
New
sorry.
South Wales, come on.
Don't
Come
boot me
on.
again. Don't boot me again.
All right. Time for an ad. I think. Who's got the shirt on?
I think we
Hasman.
all do.
We've got-
We
Everyone.
all
Yeah.
do.
Unanimous. We're unanimous.
We're all
That's how you
branded.
look for-
Turn around, Donny.
No, I don't have it on mine.
Oh,
The
I do, but I can't turn around.
What
Neither
about
can
you,
I.
Matty? Hasman, do you have it on the back?
no, he doesn't. He
No.
doesn't. He
No,
only he got
just
the.
got the regular one.
Oh, same with me. Yep, you're in
I'm
my
gonna have to get a
boat.
photo of it. I'll put it as my background next time we do a I'll get a photo of it. All right.
It's unanimous. We're all branded. We're all from Yellowstone.
Oh, I love Yellowstone.
Oh, they're very comfortable t-shirts too. Very airy. They're nice. They're nice fit.
Oh, this
And they're good for pajama tops too, guys. And ladies and gentlemen, you could just lay
There he is,
in
look
them
at
and
that.
think of the dragons,
Yeah, dragon
dragon
vodka.
Well,
vodka.
Hasman, you got to speak so we can see you.
fits me like an absolute glove. Its sizes are absolutely bloody perfect. absolutely fucking spectacular.
And they're well made too. They're well made.
Yeah.
Certainly
Double
haven't fucked around with the quality
stitch
there
around the
either.
neck and the arms.
All right.
Um,
Well, I'm going to close down the live chat here for a second, just because we've got to go into this next segment, and I've got to bring something up.
All I want, all I need, all I crave is a big multi. All I want, all I need, all I crave is a big multi. London multi. Yeah.
Sharks just went in again too. Sorry. Teague Wilton just crossed 42 points to 6. Jeremiah Nanai in the sin bin.
Well,
Yeah, because he did a hit drop. No, he didn't.
Ooh.
That was the other one.
It's
I'm only cheering
it's 6 for 42. It's cricket season. It's time for the Sharks to declare.
I'm only cheering because I know what our first leg of the multi is.
First leg of Muzz's multi. We've got the first leg up.
Yeah.
So that we
First time I'm
we
going to
had
say
the
this. Up
Sharks.
Cronulla.
We had the Sharks to cover the
saying
spread at 10.5. Don't ever say that again. That's disgusting, Jesse.
Kick him off. Kick him off.
That's why I said I watched me mouth.
Boot him.
Oh, and the other leg. So we've got the first leg up, which is actually the shortest price leg. So Muzzer was desperate to get the first leg up. He finally has. The Sharks have covered the 10.5. I think we can comfortably say that with 5 minutes to go. And then we've got a couple of anytime try scorers. Will Penasini at 2.36 anytime try scorer against the Newcastle Knights, and Cody Walker to score for the Rabbitohs against the Broncos. And the big one that adds all the value is Isaiah Yeo at $6.40 anytime try scorer against the Tigers. I think Muzz's theory there is everyone from the Panthers is probably going to score at some point against the Tigers. Isaiah Yeo, every chance there at $6.40. So overall, the odds. So we got $7.50 on that one at $600 for Family of League. If that one gets over the line, be the first one that Muzz has got all year. We've still got a couple more. We've actually got a bonus bet and another bet that we'll put on. So we'll put that one out to the everyone that's watching out there. If you can give us your 4-leg multi, that doesn't include the Dragons losing, because we are not betting on the Dragons losing. So any multi that doesn't result in us having to bet on the Dragons losing, we'll pick our favourite and we'll chuck that on. So yeah, send us through your multi.
What's Max Fenoi paying to get over?
Oh Jesus! Yeah, I'm going to have to look that up.
Actually,
Let's
okay,
go.
while
To
you're there, have a look at both Fenois to score.
Max
Mate.
Fenoi is the favourite to be anytime try scorer at $2.10, and Matt is second favourite at $2.12.
And we
Tyler
bet
Sloan at
responsibly.
That's right. Bet with your head, not over it.
So for both of them to score is $3.75, so not that great.
And we're minus 3.5 start.
What happens if you add Moses Sambai to that?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Moses Mbai, no, he's not listed.
Minus 10.
It's $34 to be a first try scorer, Moses Mbai. $34.
Oh, let's get on it.
And he's also, I had a look at this, he's actually $67 to do anything worth a shit in the entire game.
Oh. Well, there's
Poor
breaking news. There
Moses.
is
I
another injury
have
to the
heard he's a
Bulldogs.
good one. What was that, Chloe?
I was watching the footy, and there's another injury to the Bulldogs. Max King or something. I just was reading it.
Oh, not the
That's
fourth generation
man.
rugby league player.
Yeah, and apparently he's
Oh.
injured today. So, gee, we'll be versing the
It's not a-
Bulldogs New South Wales Cup. Gee,
Right.
He's not a
Luke-
very big prop.
yeah, I just heard it.
188 centimeters, 105 kilos. He's not a very big boy, but
Yeah, I
Well-
just saw it when it was coming up.
I mean, Blake Laurie's not that big either, but
no, that's right. Yeah,
he still kicks ass. So size ain't got nothing to do with it. It's all
and
about-
Nah.
his grandfather played for us, so very successful footballer for our team, Johnny King.
Yeah, no,
Got
he's,
King,
he's an
absolute
absolute
legend.
legend. Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
Hasman, we've got another viewer question. This one's actually come through from a few people. Trent Borum, Rory McDonald have both asked questions about this, but the NRL has granted salary cap dispensation for Cody Ramsey. The conditions of the relief are that we cannot use the extra funds to upgrade a current top 30 player, so we can't just increase the contract of a current top 30 player. And it also needs to be a like-for-like replacement. Who do you think could fit that criteria?
Oh, right.
Moses Mbai. So
He's
Moses
a current
Mbai's
top 30,
about-
so he can't get that money.
Oh,
That's good.
Okay, I'm just trying to think. Trying to think what other fullbacks are actually available at this point.
Well, there's a guy at Warrington's going all right.
Did he used to play for us before?
I think
Well-
he played under 20s for us.
Played for the Bulldogs too.
He did play for the Bulldogs. Yeah.
Oh, no, I
know that.
know what you mean.
Is
yeah,
he on
Bloody
offer? Is he?
What's his name?
Dufty.
Duffy.
Duffy.
can't
That's
remember.
it.
Duffy.
That's the
I
guy.
can't remember him.
Duffy?
Johnny,
With the
it's
T.
Duffy. It's Duffy.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that's him. Little blonde
Yeah,
head fella.
I
Duffy.
remember him.
It doesn't ring a bell.
It reminded me of Adam Quinlan. Sort of little
Yeah,
short.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Oh, Quinlan is a fucking midget compared to Dufty.
Well, maybe
He
we
was
can
only
get
at the
Quinlan
club
back.
because he was dating Dow's daughter.
Quinlan's actually playing Group 7 now,
Well,
down the
he-
coast,
he's
down
fit
your way,
now.
Big T.
I think
He's
now
fit,
playing
then
Nara,
bring him
playing
back.
for Nara.
Captain coach. I think he's captain coach.
oh wow.
Adam
Right.
Quinlan was actually SG Ball Player of the Year for the West Coast Pirates over here in WA.
I can go and have a chat with him.
Do you
Try
go
and
watch
get
the
him on.
Group 7 games down there?
Do I? I haven't been out to one this year, but the Nara Jets are going pretty well. Maybe I can do a report one day on them.
Yeah, no, I mean, in all honesty, you've got to think it's for this season, so the amount of players that are going to be available is going to be pretty slim. It's probably going to be a current player at the Dragons that isn't on a top 30 contract. So for me, I'd be looking at Trey Stewart, Sione Finau, Alex Lobb. They're probably the three that I would say would classify you would classify as like for like.
I think Lobby's on the outer though, isn't he?
Well, I don't know about on the outer, but yeah, well, I mean, he scored 3 tries last week.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
He can kick goals. I
Yeah.
mean, regardless of whether he's on the outer of the club or whether he's in the long-term plan to the club, who knows?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he certainly should come into consideration with the way that he's playing. Would you
Yeah.
would you agree, Jesse, or you think do you think we should be looking outside the club?
You can, not really a lot out there, as you said. Just trying to think who we can get. I'll have a look. Yeah, as you said, like if we lose Sloan, there's no really other option to bring in. And Buy's the only other fullback option, but I'm not going to go into that one.
Which makes it very sad,
That's as
isn't it,
bad
for our
as your
club?
up gag, mate. Like,
That's what I'm saying. That's the only other option in our top 30, or Jack Bird. But
Moses Mbai, bloody, you're just a shit Corey Norman. Shit Corey
He
Norman.
didn't even actually care about the game. He gave up. That's what his problem was. And he should have gave up a season before the end of the one that he just did. So he was just a bludger as well. He just a lazy player. That's what he was, a lazy player.
What if we were like
Said,
to
Hickory.
apply like for a lone player? I don't know. Like, I don't know if you look at that too. Like Blake Taff, he's a player that doesn't look like he's playing first grade at South. Hasn't played a lot.
That's not a bad
I think
option.
he'd be.
James Thomas Humphrey says, what about Corey Allen?
Well, Corey Allen's actually in the Roosters side this week with that injury to Tupou. So,
But still, he's struggling to get a run. I mean, he'd certainly. You'd think Corey Allen would be pushing for a spot in our side.
yeah, he definitely would be with the. Well, I don't think we've got anyone else after Max Fee and I in the well, in the depth and the outside backs. Really, we've all got injuries out in that department. Just try and see who else is available. Yeah, there's not really a lot of options there. You could look at a Dane Laurie.
Yeah,
Dane Laurie's not playing first grade actually at the moment either.
another guy struggling to get a run at a
Yeah.
pretty ordinary
Never
team.
look at his fucking.
He's
plans.
got some spark in him. I think he'd be okay, but again, he'd be more for depth if anything.
Like,
I only see him as a
again, how many of these guys do you think? How many of these guys do you think are better than Trey Stewart? Trey Stewart went for 199 metres in New South Wales Cup last week. Every time he plays New South Wales Cup, he seems to be one of the best on the field. Like his work rate's good. His defence is shoddy, but so's Dane Laurie, so's Matt Duffy, so is some like a lot of the names that we're mentioning. Pretty shithouse defensively. That guys that can score tries and do some decent things in attack. But I think of all the players that we're sort of talking about, I don't know that any are a better option than Trey Stewart.
Yeah,
But isn't it sad that we can't even think of anybody else to replace him? Don't you think that's the sad bit of our club at the moment? We don't have a replace. I think I'd go with you as well with Trey Stewart because I've seen good things with him, but it's the coach. Will he bring him up? Will he be able to bring him up? But look at Sullivan. He's still stuck in the New South Wales Cup, which I'm pretty over talking about. But, I would love to see the young guys come up. But it's just sad we don't have a marquee player.
Would this be just for the rest of the year, or is it
New South Wales Cup? Because he is way too inventive for Hawk's liking. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's just so just irritation. Irritated. I'm just irritated.
Yeah, and fair enough too. I don't think you're the only one. I think there's a lot of people that are irritated by some of the things going on at the club at the moment. But something that is somewhat irritating, Big T, is the other bit of news that came out today about Francis Molo after pleading guilty last month to a charge of stalking or intimidating, intending to cause fear of physical or mental harm. The NRL have finally now determined that Frankie will serve a 2-game suspension once his suspension for a high tackle has ended. He's also got a $10,000 fine with a further $5,000 suspended, and will have to undertake an NRL-approved program relating to his behaviour. Do you think this is fair that the NRL adds additional penalties once the court has finished with him?
Not depending on what the courts gave him. He'd have to pay. I don't know what he'd be doing now. I don't know the court system, so I wouldn't have a clue what he got, what he's paying, and fines and shit. Must have got a suspended sentence, didn't he? Or did he? Not sure. But intimidation.
He had no criminal record was recorded. So the judge decided that there was no, even though he pled guilty, that there was no criminal record to be recorded. So I'm not sure about fines and stuff like that, but certainly nothing criminal.
And that's called a Stanford decision, that where you plead guilty, but there's no actual charge. Why the NRL gave him a 2-match suspension? It was outside the NRL's jurisdiction, I'd say. I don't know why they did it. Anybody else got any why they gave him a 2-match suspension?
I think it's pretty consistent with some other things. I think it was Taylor May at Penrith got a suspension after he got found guilty of something. I can't remember what that was exactly, but there's been several instances. Once a player is found guilty of something, then the NRL imposes a 1 or 2 game suspension on top of whatever it is that the courts give them. So it's consistent with other things the NRL has done. But I suppose the question is whether the NRL should be getting involved once the courts have finished.
Yeah, courts
Should
have
the
said
NRL
no. Yeah. Are they their own judge, jury, and executioner? You know.
Niz Mitty says a $15,000 fine. It's actually a $10,000 fine with a further 5,000 suspended. So he only has to pay a $10,000 fine. The other 5 is only if he does, like, it's a good behaviour bond sort of thing. If he does something else, something else stupid, then he'll get that other 5,000 of that 15K fine.
If it's consistent with what they've done before in the NRL, I'll say it's fair enough. Maybe we can get the suspension deferred till maybe next year or something, like they did with Tyrone May.
Yeah.
He got injured.
I mean, the fans want to see they want to see Big Frankie out there, don't they? That's
for sure.
That's what the fans want. Come on, Flanders. This is what the fans want. Give them what they want. Yeah. I mean, I was pretty hard on Frankie when this first happened. I think that as soon as he pled guilty, the Dragons should have sacked him. I think.
Yeah, like it's not right. It's not nothing to do with intimidate a woman.
Yeah. So for me, again, there hasn't been a lot of facts from this case released. I haven't been able to find a lot of information in terms of what it was exactly that he did. Again, the charge sounds freaking awful. Intimidation and, threatening a woman with physical harm and all that sort of stuff. It sounds horrible. But the fact that there's been no criminal conviction recorded, I wonder if there's details that we're missing, because on face value, for me, this is he shouldn't be at the club anymore. The Dragons at some point have to take a stand on their culture and say this is not the kind of thing that we accept.
Maybe we should get in contact with Matty Elliott again. He's the culture officer, like he's the one that said he's got to fix this up. And this thing's happened straight after.
Particularly good job now, is he?
Yeah. Got to say a shout out to Niz Mitty. He's one of my brothers from down here at in Kalala. Thanks for watching, brother.
Fantastic. Good to have a new name, I suppose, in the chat as well. So
he's a dirty Manly supporter, but we'll forgive him for that, I think.
I don't think we can forgive anyone for that. Yeah. All right. We move into, I guess lower grades, but it's not really a lower grade. It's equal to the NRL, isn't it, Jesse? The NRLW draw has been released. I haven't had a chance to have a real good look at it yet, but I'm sure you have, Jesse. What are the good things and the bad things out of the draw there for the Dragons?
Well, I'll start with the bad. The bad thing is we've put our first game will be against the reigning premiers, the Newcastle Knights in Newcastle. That's our very first game. So that will start on Saturday, the 22nd of July. There'll be, and a good thing for the game too, Fox League, Channel 9 and KO will all be showing every single game of the NRLW, including the grand final and Women's State of Origin. So that's a big thing for the women's game.
I love watching the women's game. It's much more interesting sometimes than the men's. Their tackle, and sometimes I'm like, gee, I need a hospital after that tackle. It's amazing.
We do have our first game, yes, against the Newcastle Knights. That'll be in Newcastle. Our second game actually will be in Wollongong at Wynn Stadium. We take on Elsie Albert and Rachel Pearson, their new side, the Parramatta Eels. So that will lead into the NRL game at 5:30 that day, which will be against Manly. So it's a double header. The NRLW will play the Eels at 3:10 and then Manly at 5:30 in the NRL. Round 3, the replay of the 2021 grand final. First time we're up against Keely Davis. First time she'll face the Dragons since she left. That'll be at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Be Thursday night football on 3rd of August. Then again, week after we have a standalone game at Wynn Stadium. We take on the new side, the Canberra Raiders. In round 5, we head up to Parramatta. We take on the West Tigers. First time the Dragons will come up against Kezi Apps since she's left the club. Then we take on the Gold Coast Titans at Cogra. The same night we do play. No. So we play the Titans at Cogra on a Saturday afternoon. Leading into our next round game, which will be against the Cowboys up in Townsville on September 2. Following that, we've got another Thursday night game, a first ever NRLW local derby. We take on the Sharks, so there'll be a bit of spite there with 3 former Dragons in that side in Quincy Dodd, Emma Tonagato, and Holly Wheeler. So that's going to be an interesting local derby.
Do you think that's an opportunity missed that we don't play the Sharks a little bit earlier in the season?
Yeah, I thought that would have been a circled game, like being the Sharks and the Dragons. Like many of those Dragons have moved north to the Shire. Yeah, I thought that would have been one of the early games, but considering it's at the back end of the regular season, that's going to be interesting. And then we finish the regular season against the Broncos at Cogra on a Saturday afternoon. So
all right, let's go into a little bit of controversy then, because we've got 4 games at home, which if you look at every other team's draws, we've done all right there. I haven't looked at everyone, but I saw the Parramatta Eels. They've got 2 games at CommBank. They've got 2 games in Canberra, so they've got as many games in Canberra as they've got at home. We've got 4 games at home, which is pretty good compared to most. But the old St George versus Illawarra debate. The 2 games at Cogra are both against Queensland teams, whereas the 2 games at Wollongong both against Sydney teams. Do you think Wollongong has got the better deal than Cogra once again?
no, I think the Titans will be an improved side this year. Most notably, gaining Jamie Chapman, Shaylee Benton, Talia Fuimano. So that'll be an interesting game. Be a lot of spite, I think, as well. The Raiders, they're the other team that's entering the competition. I don't know what to expect of them. We'll have to wait and see how they perform.
Well, that's basically a local derby down in Wollongong.
Yeah.
Wollongong Raiders.
I don't really know what to expect of them yet. We have to see. We don't even know what to expect from our side yet. Haven't seen them play together before, so it's going to be interesting to see how they go. But yeah, I think the Knights will be our biggest test to start the competition. They've kept the bulk of their side. I think they've only made 4 signings though, but any team that revolves has a team built around Tamika Upton and Jesse Southwell. They're going to be very hard to beat. They've been playing they've been playing in the Women's Premiership in the State Cup as well. So they've been getting more game time to prepare for this again. They won't have the same side as last year, but I still think they'll be very competitive and still be one of the sides to beat.
Well, there's a lot of people saying that the only team that's lost more than the Dragons is the Knights. There's certainly been a lot of players that they have lost, and
the Eels are another one.
Yeah, again, you look at both the teams from the grand final. I don't know. I think the Eels look pretty good to me. When you're adding Rachel Pearson, you're adding Elsie Albert, you've got Kennedy Sherrington there. That's not a bad looking team to me.
Yeah, well, that's all they've signed, I think, at this stage. It'd be interesting to see who else they've signed because I think they lost 6 to the Tigers. Quite a few went to the Raiders. Jemima Taufa's probably their biggest loss. Going forward, Origin and Test player. You look at but the Roosters are tipped as the heavy favourites at the moment. They just made their latest announcement. So
Yeah,
Jess
the,
Surgis,
the Roosters with the freaking, they've got a wider brim than I've got on my hat tonight. There's
they're doing it in
goes,
this comp too. Yes.
way out here.
The sombrero, Donny.
Oh, is that what they call it? I don't know. I've never
It
heard
Runs
of
through
that.
the
Sombrero,
grades.
yeah.
It runs through the grades. Yeah. But when you say that too, like people are still struggling to see how we identify a marquee player. Like I said to you a few weeks ago,
Well,
Racine McGregor is not identified as a marquee player. I'm baffled at that.
but that's up to the club. That's up to the club to nominate who their marquee player is. Like that.
They have to have a marquee player.
No, the Dragons don't have a marquee player, which doesn't make any sense to me because this year, the marquee player, $30,000 of their salary is outside the cap, and you don't have to include it. So why would you not nominate someone as your marquee? Like, I know we went after Emma Tonagato was our target for a marquee player. She decided to go to the Sharks instead. She declined our offer. We'd already signed Racine McGregor, but we've got a space there for a marquee player where we can have 30,000. Like, we have to pay them at least 50,000 a year, and then we've got another 30,000 outside the cap. So
Yeah.
why would you not have a marquee player in your side? It doesn't make any sense. At the moment, the Dragons don't have one.
The Roosters actually don't have one either. Like they said, you don't have to necessarily have a marquee player.
Millie Boyle's at the Roosters.
They haven't.
She's apparently on $250,000 a year or something. Like, she's asked for ridiculous money.
Like I did look into it. They have said that like you don't have to have a marquee player as long as you've got $900,000 to work with for your salary cap. So as long as you can work a way how to manage that cap and be under the 900 mark.
Yeah, but if you can have $30,000
players,
outside of the salary cap, why would you not do that?
I don't know. Yeah, that's up to the clubs. But yeah, I don't really like. You look at the players they've got on their books. The Roosters: Jess Surgis, Isabel Kelly, Keely Davis, Millie Boyle.
Big T. Do you remember the movie Total Recall?
I do remember Total Recall. I totally recall Total Recall.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like when Arnold Schwarzenegger dresses up as the woman robot and goes to the airport, and it's like 2 weeks, and his head explodes. Like that's how I feel about the NRLW salary cap there at the moment. I know you've got someone that can actually come in and explain it to us, Jesse. Maybe next week we might need to look in at getting somebody on that understands it all a little bit better than us mugs, because it's doing my head in. Anyway, before we do move on, Jesse, just confirm again, when does the season start?
So Saturday, July 22, our first game is against the Newcastle Knights. That'll be live that'll be playing at McDonald Jones Stadium. So Saturday, July 22, and the kickoff is at 3:10 on Saturday afternoon.
Fantastic. Certainly looking
they start
forward
pre-season
to that.
At sometime next month.
Yeah, well, obviously they've got a few weeks off after the state premierships this week. Yeah.
The
New South Wales Cup,
and a lot of our girls are playing in the there's 8 Dragons playing for the Bulldogs in the Harvey Norman Women's Premiership Grand Final. So they're playing Saturday night at 6 p.m. So if you want to have a look at some of our players coming to our side in a few weeks, tune into that live stream Saturday night at 6 p.m. The Harvey Norman Women's Premiership Grand Final, Mounties and the Bulldogs.
All right. We'll quickly rush through a little bit of the other lower grades. The New South Wales Cup team to take on the Dogs before the main game in Wollongong on Sunday. Sevilio Tamale has been named despite seeming to suffer an injury at the back end of the game last week. So good to see him named for his second game. Hopefully he can take his place, and it's not Ducks and Drakes from Goodwin. The Dogs are actually equal first in the New South Wales Cup competition. So it is expected to be a tough game for our boys, led by Billy Burns and Jaden Sullivan. How do you think they'll go, Hasman?
Sorry, mate.
You there?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
How do you think the New South Wales Cup side will go against the Dogs, led by the great Billy Burns?
Led by the great Billy Burns. Well, I mean, that's got to be at least -20 there for a start.
Oh, come on. Come on. Billy's been killing it the last couple of weeks.
Oh, Billy,
Actually-
no, he's just a
He's
shooter.
killing it.
That's all.
If you're going to say that, there's got to be an investigation. We've got to have an investigation. No. Billy Burns.
Someone's got to be accountable for this.
That's right, yeah. No. Someone's got to be careful not bringing Jaden Sullivan up.
Well,
Well,
I'm still
you know
hoping
who's
Jaden
gonna
Sullivan
win,
doesn't
that's
play
it.
in this game and he plays in the NRL game, but
Right.
hoping against hope, I think. Anyway, the Jersey Fleet side, they've actually got a rare Friday night game. They play tomorrow night at Belmore, the eighth hole of the world at 6 p.m. The Dogs have a massive 13 changes to their side. Well, the Dragons themselves have made 5 changes. Nick Quinn is named to make his Jersey Fleet debut at 5'8". He's the St. George Dragons halfback in the SG Ball competition. He's been their captain the last couple of years and a really, really good young player. He seems to have a lot of time on his hands. And yeah, I've liked. I haven't seen a lot of him. I've seen a little bit, but the little I have seen, I've liked what he's got to offer. So looking forward to seeing how he goes at the next level up. Again, the Dogs are pretty good in this competition as well, sitting in second spot in flag. But with so many changes, 13 changes, as I say, it's basically a different team. So I'm really completely unsure what to expect from this game tomorrow night in Belmore. We might move on now. We've got the three of you there with us. We'll go into prediction time in terms of what you expect to happen in this game between the Dragons and the Bulldogs. I've got a little special question, though, that I want you all to give me who you think out of the twins, Max and Matt Feeney, which one will have the most running meters? So as well as your score and your other predictions you got for the game, which of the twins do you think will have the most running meters this weekend? I'll start with you, Jesse.
I'll go Max. I want to see him do well. I think he'll be itching to get back out there in first grade, and as brothers do, they'll be looking to outperform each other. I think Max. I'm going to go for Max.
Fantastic. What about the result?
I don't think it'll be a walk in the park. I think there'll be still a lot of niggles from Anzac Day. I'm going to go. I don't think it'll be a blowout score. I think it'll be very close. I'm going to go the Dragons by 8. I'm going to back Tyrell Sloan for a try anytime. I'll go Max for the first try.
Yeah, beautiful. Big T, what's your predictions for this game?
Yeah, I'm going to say Dragons by plenty. I reckon it'll be up around the 24, 26 point mark at the end of the game. With the injuries the Bulldogs have got, they sort of tend to fall away at the back end of games and they get tired. So, yeah, Dragons will win by plenty. I reckon Maxie and Matty, they'll both score 2 tries, whether they be first or second or third or whatever. Max and Matt will score 2 tries each, and I think Max will run more meters at 218.
218 meters. Ooh, I hope you're right, mate. That's not a bad effort. But Hasman, what's your thoughts, mate?
I reckon Max will get the first one on debut. Little to score anytime. I reckon Matt Fino will get run meters and call the RSPCA because I predict 17 Bulldogs getting the shit kicked out of them for 80 minutes and the Dragons by 20, which is our average win against the Bulldogs going back 7 years.
I use that exact stat too, Hasman, but I said 24, mate. But in the last 7 years, I knew that the average score was 20. So yeah, that's what I used as well.
It's going to be, I think it would be a good
Hey,
game.
on the
Like,
stats,
they're
man,
predicting rain as well, so it's going to make a difference as well.
Yeah, take your umbrella.
The
But they
Dragons have
said the
won their-
windsock will be blowing.
The Dragons haven't been going that well of late, but they've won their last 6 in a row at Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. I think they will continue that with a fairly comfortable victory over the Bulldogs. I think they win it by 14. I think Matt Feeney will look to step up with his brother in the team and show him how it's done, because he's the regular. He's the bloke that needs to set the standard. I think he'll come out and we'll get a few more meters than his brother. He'll also cross for a try. I think Zach Lomax will score as well. And maybe he'll get his goal kicking right and kick 4 from 5. So we'll go with that as the prediction for this weekend's game up against the Bulldogs. I think we're unanimous in thinking that we should be expecting to win. The Bulldogs with a lot of players out. I think we should all be pretty disappointed if we don't. It's at home against the Dogs. We have to stand up for this game. So come on, Dragons fans. Fire up.
Fire up, boys.
Fire
Dragons for life.